The 80s gave us some absolute sci-fi gems that only lasted one season. Some were ahead of their time, others were gloriously weird, and a few were just too expensive to survive. In this video, we're celebrating these short-lived sci-fi shows of the 80s, the ones that burned bright, vanished fast, and still live rent-free in the minds of die-hard genre fans. And to keep things tidy, we're listing everything in chronological order. Let's rewind and revisit the one-and-done sci-fi masterpieces of the 1980s. The Phoenix. The Phoenix introduced us to Bennu of the Golden Light, a mysterious superpowered alien awakened from centuries of slumber inside a pyramid. With his glowing amulet and Zen energy, Bennu wandered 1980s America trying to find his missing soulmate while dodging a very cranky government agent. The vibe was very much sci-fi meets spiritual enlightenment, which may have been too mellow for audiences expecting laser beams and explosions, so only 5 episodes aired before the show was canceled. But The Phoenix is remembered fondly by those who love their sci-fi weird, earnest, and just a little bit cosmic. The Powers of Matthew Starr. On paper, the powers of Matthew Starr sounds like a teen superhero dream. A high school student with secret alien origins and telekinetic powers dodging evil intergalactic assassins. What's not to love, right? Matthew Starr was actually Prince Ehawk from the planet Quadris, and under the protection of his Earth guardian, he tried to blend in while saving the world one low-budget action sequence at a time. But the show couldn't quite decide what it wanted to be, flipping between sci-fi epic and teen drama, and that tonal whiplash killed its chances. Still, it's a fascinating relic of 1980s genre TV. Voyagers. Time travel meets buddy comedy in Voyagers, a one-season wonder that remains one of the most charming time-hopping shows of the 80s. Phineas Fogg, a swashbuckling time traveler, teams up with Jeffrey, a brainy 11-year-old, to fix historical events gone sideways. Armed with a malfunctioning time device called the Omni, they zipped through history fixing everything from the Wright brothers to Cleopatra. The show had a campy, educational vibe, but the chemistry between the leads made it sing. Unfortunately, Voyagers didn't survive past its first season, but it left behind a cult following and one of the most wholesome time travel premises of its era. Automan. This high-concept curiosity followed a nerdy police programmer who creates a sentient hologram superhero to help fight crime. Automan glowed, cracked jokes, and could generate an awesome glowing car that took 90-degree turns without slowing down. He even had a sidekick, Cursor, a little light blob that created anything he needed, from helicopters to disco suits. The tech was mind-blowing for the time, but it came at a price. The budget was sky-high, and the ratings just didn't compute. Automan only aired 12 episodes, but it lives on in retro TV fandom as a glorious, neon-lit slice of 1980s sci-fi weirdness. V, the series. After 2 massively successful miniseries, V, the series was supposed to be the big sci-fi follow-up that solidified the franchise's place in TV history. Instead, it became a cautionary tale in Too Much, Too Fast. Picking up where the second miniseries left off, the show followed humanity's ongoing fight against the lizard-like visitors, complete with resistance fighters and a whole lot of laser battles. It had big ideas, but also budget cuts and behind-the-scenes chaos. Storylines got weird, characters vanished without explanation, and the high-stakes drama of the originals started to feel like a daytime soap. Still, it's a fun continuation with campy charm, and for hardcore fans of V, it's a wild, one-season ride worth revisiting. Otherworld. Imagine getting lost in an alternate dimension during your family vacation. That's Otherworld in a nutshell. The Sterling family takes a wrong turn during a tour of Egypt and ends up in Thel, a strange parallel world with zones controlled by wildly different dystopian governments. The show's world building was genuinely ambitious, since each episode brought the Sterlings to a new region, complete with creepy thought police, tech cults, and underground resistance groups. Unfortunately, it never found its audience and only aired 8 episodes. But Otherworld has that lost classic energy, quirky, smart, and a little ahead of its time. Misfits of Science. Then there was Misfits of Science, a delightfully chaotic ensemble show about a ragtag team of superpowered oddballs working for a government think tank. You had a guy who could shrink, a rock star who could shoot lightning from his hands, and a telekinetic teen played by a young Courtney Cox. The tone was very Saturday morning cartoon meets adult sci-fi, with snappy banter, silly science, and a synth-heavy theme song that absolutely slapped. It was weird, it was wild, it was canceled. But its one-season run is remembered as a charmingly goofy precursor to the superhero team-up shows we get today. Starman. Set 15 years after the events of the 1984 film, Starman follows the alien as he returns to Earth to reconnect with his now teenage son. It's part sci-fi chase story, part father-son road trip, with government agents in pursuit and emotional bonding along the way. The tone is more character-driven than most 80s sci-fi, leaning into themes of identity and what it means to be human. It didn't have the flashy effects or explosive action of its competitors, but Starman had heart, and that gave it a loyal following. It only lasted 22 episodes, but it's one of those overlooked shows that quietly left an impression. Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future. This show dropped viewers into a dystopian 22nd century, where high-tech warriors battled ruthless machines for humanity's survival. We followed Captain Power and his squad of resistance fighters using high-tech suits to battle the evil Lord Dread and his Bio-Dread army. What really made it wild? The interactive toys. Yep, you could buy plastic guns that let you play along with the show by shooting at the screen. It was ahead of its time, incredibly dark for a kids' show, and filled with surprisingly heavy themes about war, loss, and sacrifice, so it only lasted one season. But for many, it became a cult obsession. The Highwayman. The Highwayman was pure 1980s excess in sci-fi form. Picture a mysterious futuristic lawman cruising the American highways in a truck that doubled as a helicopter launch pad and secret surveillance HQ. Oh, and he had a sidekick named Jetto. Sam J. Jones played the title character with stone-faced authority, driving his rig into strange cases involving invisible vehicles, cryogenic criminals, and teleportation. It was bizarre, ambitious, and kind of awesome, but it didn't stick the landing. Only 9 episodes aired, but The Highwayman remains a glorious, weird artifact of peak 80s sci-fi TV boldness. Something is Out There. Something is Out There started as a successful miniseries, which then got spun into a weekly show that took the original's high-concept sci-fi and morphed it into a buddy cop drama. The show followed Jack, a tough NYPD detective, and Tara, a humanoid alien doctor with telepathic powers, as they solve crimes and clash with confused local authorities. The show rarely knew exactly what it wanted to be, but it was fun, weird, and anchored by a surprisingly charming lead duo. So although only 6 episodes actually aired, Something is Out There still holds onto a quiet cult following. Honorable mentions. Before we wrap, let's give a quick shout out to a few other short-lived sci-fi curiosities from the 80s. Galactica 1980 tried to keep the Battlestar Galactica flame alive with a Wild Earth-set sequel, but lost the original's edge and most of its audience. While Beyond Westworld attempted to turn the classic movie into a weekly series about stopping rogue androids, but only 3 of its 5 filmed episodes ever made it to air. And across the pond, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy brought Douglas Adams' absurd space satire to BBC TV with glorious low-budget flair and surprisingly effective visual gags. While The Day of the Triffids adapted the post-apocalyptic novel into a chilling 6-part British series that's unsettling in all the right ways. Alien Nation. Alien Nation imagined what would happen if aliens didn't just land on Earth, but tried to settle down here. Set in a near-future US, the show followed a gruff human detective and his alien partner, blending classic buddy cop dynamics with surprisingly sharp social commentary. The aliens faced prejudice, integration struggles, and cultural clashes that mirrored real-world issues, all while solving murders and uncovering corruption. It was progressive, clever, and way deeper than its sci-fi cop show packaging suggested. But despite strong writing and solid ratings, it was canceled after just 1 season due to Fox's financial troubles. Thankfully for fans, especially since the series ended on a cliffhanger, the story continued through 5 made-for-TV movies released in the 90s. Do you agree with our picks for these short-lived 80s sci-fi shows? Are there any series you'd like to add to this list? Let us know in the comments. Check out TVShowPilot.com for articles on all your favorite shows. And don't forget to subscribe to the TV Show Pilot YouTube channel for more videos like this.